Erev Tov, everyone. Erev Tov. It is Monday night. It is 8 p.m. here on the east side of the United States, here in the diaspora. This is the Maimon Beit Knesset, therefore it must be Zeyde's Story Corner. That's right, Zeyde's Story Corner. Yeah, so we're going to continue on with the stories from the Sephardic world, and you were off. Yeah, we were off for a little bit. I was having some stomach issues, and I can understand that. That is a lot of. Never mind about that. Okay, let's just say that I'm doing fine. Everything is fine, and we are pretty much back to normal as you get. Well, okay, let's just pass that one on by. Let's see who we have in the chat room, shall we? Let's do that. Okay. So, let's see. We have Donald and we have Marshall. That's it. Yeah, that's it right now. So far, they'll come trailing in like they always do. Yeah, that's right. They always do come trailing in. So I guess we're going to be finishing basically with the serious stories, and then we're going to be getting into some of the more silly stories. These are kind of like whole village of Helm rolled into one. Yeah. It's this character, which is a famous character in Sephardic tradition, is basically like the entire village of Helm rolled up into one person. So Simcha and Ronald and Yehuda have joined us, and see, I told you. Yeah, I know you told me they would be coming in. They would be trailing in. Okay, well, let's get on with our story tonight, and hopefully we'll have some time to get into the news stories, the more humorous stories. And then we're going to be pretty much done with this book. I thought it would take longer. Yeah, I did think it would take longer too. It's a fairly large book, but we're coming up on the end of it, and we're going to have to find some new stories somewhere. Either that or reread the old ones. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's been quite a while since we actually started this story, so maybe we'll just go back to the beginning and reread some of the old stories. So, but we'll figure that out. I'm sure there are other books, so we'll see. Yeah. So, anyway, let's get you on your camera. Please do. Okay, let's get the old Z cam on there. There I am. Okay, so we are going to go on with our reading of these stories from the Sephardic tradition. And tonight's story is called The Disciples' Envy of the Rabbi's Son. Like that never happened. Yeah, I know. Yeah. We'll see. Okay. In a certain city, there lived an extremely wealthy rabbi, renowned for his good works. He accepted students and taught them for free. Oh, how very nice. Yeah, that is pretty nice, yeah. This rabbi had an only son. He taught his son every day until the child reached the age of bar mitzvah. Then the rabbi started teaching the boy more than he taught the other students. Every day the rabbi went to his shop to conduct business, leaving that's the old way. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the old way. Rabbis used to actually have a trade back in the day. They weren't actually professionals. Yeah, that's true. It's a right up until modern times. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so anyway, every day the rabbi went to his shop to conduct business, leaving his son home to teach the students. On Thursdays, the rabbi would distribute charity to the poor for their Shabbos needs, giving each poor man a sum appropriate to his family's size and needs. Oh, how very nice. One day, the rabbi stayed at the yeshiva, and the son went to open the shop. The poor showed up to collect their weekly alms. "What do you want?" asked the son. "Every Thursday we come to your father," they replied, "and he gives us alms for Shabbat, each according to his family. Please, won't you give us charity too?" "How much does my father give you?" 30 pence a family. My father doesn't know anything." The penniless man thought the son would give them less. "Whoever received 30 pence from my father will get 60 from me. 30 isn't enough." So the son gave each and every pauper double alms, as well as clothes, hats, shoes, and any other garments they needed. "Now, I ask you a favor. Get up early tomorrow morning, go to the market, and buy whatever you see: meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, and so on. Don't leave anything in the stalls." The paupers did just that. They got up early the next morning and bought out the market. When the rich people came later, as their habit, to buy what they needed for Shabbat, nothing was left. "What is different today?" they wondered. Investigating, they discovered that the poor had bought up everything. "Who gave you money?" they asked one pauper. "The son of the rabbi." The rich people thought about this. "Look for some way to deal with the rabbi's son," they told their children. "Get him away to some remote country and then come back." So the students at the father's yeshiva said to the rabbi's son, "How would you like to go into business with us? We are going to travel to a distant city to buy merchandise we can sell at a profit." The rabbi's son told his father, "Father, I want to go with my friends to do business in a distant city." "My son," cautioned the rabbi, "whatever amount you could make from this trip, I'll double it, provided you don't sail away to a distant land." But the son was adamant. The other students made him eager to travel and do business. His mother told her husband, "Give him money to travel with those students. He's our only son. We shouldn't cause him any pain or worry. We should do what he wants." So his father gave him money, and he set off with his fellow students. When they reached their destination, the other boys eluded the rabbi's son and went on their own way. The rabbi's son was left alone. He kept walking until he reached a place where a Jewish baker lived. "Who are you?" asked the baker. "I'm a Jew," replied the rabbi's son. "Will you take me in? But not for free, only on condition that I pay for my room and board." "Yes, willingly," replied the baker. The rabbi's son started performing mitzvot and writing them down in a notebook. He gave whatever money he earned to charity and recorded it in the notebook. If someone needed to fill in and could not afford to buy them, the rabbi's son would give him money and write it down in the notebook. He kept doing this until all the money he had brought with him was gone, and only the price of a trip home remained in his pocket. When the young man's friends returned home, the rabbi asked them, "Where is my son?" "Sir, it's better you shouldn't ask about him," they replied. "Your son found himself some prostitutes, and now he's whoring and drinking wine and getting drunk, playing dice and indulging in other vices. That's what happened, sir." The rabbi did not know what to think, half believing, half disbelieving. "That's how it is," he told his wife. "The evil inclination rules this world. What can we do?" The rabbi's son sailed home. When he arrived, he hugged and kissed his father and mother. "What sort of merchandise did you purchase?" asked his father. "I'll show you after lunch," replied the son. So happy and content, they ate and drank. When they finished their repast, the young man pulled out the notebook from his pocket. "Please, examine the merchandise, father, if you want to. If you think it is good, I will go buy more." The rabbi took the ledger from his son. After he read its contents, he said to him, "May you merit to perform many more mitzvot. Yisher koach. Well done, my son. But why should you go to the trouble of traveling to a far-off city to perform charitable deeds and mitzvot? With God's help, you can do it right in our own town. Why should you travel to a distant place?" So the rabbi's son stayed in his hometown, where he became known as a great benefactor. Once, when the students were studying with the rabbi, the son said, "Let me go to the shop and handle the business." The rabbi did not refuse his son's request. It was a Thursday, when the poor people came to the store, as was their custom, to obtain money for their Sabbath needs. The rabbi's son asked how they were doing. "When you went away," they told him, "your father gave us only half as much as you gave us. Then I'll give you 3 times as much today. Get up early tomorrow morning and buy up everything in the market. Don't leave even a bone for the rich people." The poor people did what he said. Friday, when the rich came to market to buy what they needed for Shabbat, there was no fruit to be had, no vegetables, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no fowl. They couldn't even find any bones. "What can be done about that young man?" grumbled the rich people among themselves. "He's got to be removed to a distant town. They have to tempt him to go with them and then abandon him to his own devices and come home by themselves." The students urged the rabbi's son to join them. Come with us to buy merchandise so you can make a large profit. No, I won't come with you. You're just trying to deceive me. When you get there, you'll sneak away, and I'll be left alone in a strange town. We won't disappear, they replied. This time we'll stay with you. Don't worry, we won't abandon you. The rabbi's son asked his father for money so he could go with the students. My son, cautioned the father, if you go with them, they'll leave you and go off by themselves, just as they did the first time. God will help me and will not abandon me. Please, give me some more money. The father gave him the money, and the son went off with the young men. They sailed to a distant city. When they disembarked in the port, each of the students went off a different way, leaving the rabbi's son by himself. He looked this way and that, but he couldn't find any of his fellow travelers. Astonished. Really? Astonished? You'd think he was really astonished? Well, I don't know. I kind of find it kind of odd that he would be astonished that this would happen a second time. Oh, well, so it says he was astonished. Astonished he will be. Astonished. He was quite at a loss about what to do. Putting his faith in God, he started walking. He followed the road until he came upon a Jewish shoemaker at his last. Sir, said the rabbi's son to the shoemaker, would you be so kind as to accept me as a lodger in your house? Welcome, replied the shoemaker. Stay with me until you can return to your home in peace. The young man went for a walk through the streets of the town. He purchased bread, oil, meat, fish, and vegetables, and brought them to the house of his host. Why are you doing this? Asked the shoemaker. Why should you buy me food with your money? You are poor and have nothing, so I have to help you, he answered. But if you know any poor people around here, tell them to come on Thursdays so I can give them money for their Sabbath needs. The shoemaker repeated this to all the poor people in the vicinity, and they came. Every Thursday, the rabbi's son gave them money for the Sabbath. If someone needed tefillin, the rabbi's son gave him money to buy them. If someone wanted to get married, the rabbi's son gave him money to cover the cost of the wedding. When someone died, he gave money for the shroud and the burial. As before, he recorded everything he did in his ledger. One day, the young man was walking through the marketplace. He noticed that the Jews were hurrying to and fro, looking sad and distraught. What happened today in town? He called to one. Don't you know? The rabbi of the city has passed away, and the king has ordered us to pay 3,000 duros. That's like a pound in Spanish, to ransom his body. But all the Jews here are poor. We can't pay what the king is demanding. Show me where the king's palace is, he told the man. With God's help, I'll pay the sum he wants so you can bury the rabbi. They showed him the way. When the young man entered the palace, the king stood up and greeted him with respect. because the divine presence rested on his face of the rabbi's son, and he looked like an angel of God. When you came in, explained the king, it was as if an angel had of the house, the Lord of hosts, had entered here. Take and permit, and go bury your dead. As for the money, distribute it to the needy. The rabbi's son followed the king's instructions. He took the permit and went to bury the rabbi. At the funeral, he delivered a eulogy for the deceased rabbi. Afterwards, he started back to the house of the shoemaker for whom he worked. Passing the harbor on the way, he saw a ship, its hatches battened down, being sold with its mysterious cargo. He bought it for 3,000 duros and continued to the shoemaker's house. The time has come for me to travel to my own land and home, he told his host. Farewell. The shoemaker accompanied him as far as the port. The rabbi's son took the keys and began opening all the cabinets and holds of the ship. In one of them he found a woman, radiant as the sun, beautiful as the moon. She was the daughter of the King of Spain. At the time of war was raging between Spain and another country. This ship was full of gold and diamonds, but on top there were barrels of wine. The king's daughter explained to the young man, "The enemy captured me and sold this ship, but they didn't know what it was carrying. They thought it was only wine. But the wine is just on top. Underneath the wine, the hold is full of gold." They set sail for his father's city. When they arrived, the rabbi's son went to his father and told him the whole story from beginning to end. "Let's be prudent and remove the barrels of gold and precious stones at night," counseled his father. So the rabbi went to see the customs superintendent. "My son is still of tender years and didn't know what to buy. He went to purchase merchandise and came back with wine. But here in our city, wine sells for pennies a liter. I'm embarrassed to unload the wine during the day. The other rich men will laugh and make fun of me. May I have your permission to remove the wine at night when no one is around? Even the police and watchmen should stay far away so they won't see my shame and disgrace." The superintendent gave his permission and sent custom clerks to verify his story. When they boarded the ship, the customs official saw the wine on top. They went back and told the supervisor the rabbi had spoken truly, and the cargo was, in fact, wine. The rabbi brought 10 trustworthy and pious Jews who rolled the barrels off the ship to the rabbi's house. They brought the men's clothing for the daughter of the King of Spain and dressed her up so no one could recognize her. The rabbi's son painted the ship a different color. The king's daughter converted to Judaism, and the rabbi's son married her. They celebrated the wedding ceremony with the 7 blessings. All the rich people and dignitaries of the town came to the rabbi's house, where they feasted and rejoiced for 7 days. Man, that is a party. Yeah, well, that was the tradition back then. Too bad we don't still do that, you know? Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Every day someone new came. The rabbi's son continued to be generous and perform good works as had become his custom. The king's daughter said to her husband, the rabbi's son, "I'm starting to grow bored. Bring me some silk and thread and woolen thread, and I'll weave carpets." Huh, carpets. What do you know about that? Okay, so let's stop there and let us take our break. And when we return, we'll find out what this king of Spain's daughter is going to do and weave carpets. Shall we? Okay. So we are going to take a 6-minute break, and when we return, we shall return to our story. Please, everyone, stay tuned.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's intermission time, folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 5 minutes. The show starts in 4 minutes. The show starts in 3 minutes. The show starts in 2 minutes. The show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
And we are back. Okay, let us find out what the King of Spain's daughter is planning on doing. Shall we? Okay, let us continue on. Okay, so the rabbi's son did as his wife asked and brought her woolen thread and silk thread. She wove carpets, which she gave to her husband to sell. You must sell them to the first person who asks to buy one, at whatever price he offers, she instructed him. Every day when she would finish weaving a carpet, her husband, the rabbi's son, would take it to the store to sell. For 5 or 6 years, the shopkeeper kept purchasing them until his shop was full of carpets. Back to the rabbi's son. He had 2 children who went to school every day. On their way, they passed the house of their grandfather, the rabbi, who would give them a blessing. Now, back to the king, who was searching for his daughter in every city but could not find her. The shopkeeper sent all the carpets he had to his shop to a friend in another town, very far away, to try and sell them there. The king, wandering through that city, saw the carpets and recognized his daughter's handiwork. Now I know my daughter is still alive, he said. Who sold you those carpets? He asked the storekeeper. My friend in such and such a town sent me these carpets to sell for him, he replied. The king traveled to the other city and went to the first shopkeeper. Would you sell me the key to your shop for 1 month? I am willing to pay whatever value you place on the key. I will also pay you for the merchandise that's here. When the month is up, I will return everything that is in the store, and you won't have to pay me anything. The storekeeper agreed, and they wrote up and signed a contract. In this way, the king gained possession of the carpet store and sat there selling clothes and carpets. One day, the rabbi's son came to sell carpets to his friend, the shopkeeper, as usual, but he was not in his shop. He started back home, but the king called after him. "Why are you in such a hurry?" "Because I didn't find my friend in the shop to sell the carpets to him. I'll buy the carpets from you and pay you twice what they're worth." The rabbi's son sold the carpets to the king. That very same day, the sons of the rabbi's son left school and were walking home. They passed the king's shop. The king called out to them, "Who are you?" "We are Jews," they replied. The king could see the children look like his daughter. "Now I know my daughter is here," he told himself, "because these are her sons." One day, the rabbi's son went to the shop to sell carpets to its new owner. "I'd like to come and visit your home," the king said. "If you want to eat or drink, I'll invite you to an inn where we can have a meal, and I'll pay the bill." "No," said the king, "I want to come to your house and eat your own food because we're friends." Somehow or other, it worked out that the king went home with the rabbi's son to eat lunch. That particular day, the maidservant was not at home at the house of the rabbi. "Could I have some water to drink?" asked the king. The rabbi's son got up to bring the king some water. Taking advantage of his absence, the king poured sakran into his plate. When the rabbi's son returned and started eating again, he swallowed only a few bites before he fell asleep. The king went into the inner chamber and seized his daughter and her two sons. "Now you're coming with me, you and your children." The king took out a pistol and was going to kill the rabbi's son, but his daughter protested. "Father, even if you kill him, I won't go with you. I'll stay here, even if you kill me too, because he was good to me." Despite her protest, the king took his daughter and her sons and left. The rabbi waited for the children to come and visit him, as they did every day, and receive his blessing. But they did not show up. "Go see what happened to the children," he instructed the maid. "Why didn't they come?" The maid went to the house of the rabbi's son. Neither the wife nor the children were to be found. Only the rabbi's son in a deep sleep. She went back and told the rabbi. The rabbi summoned a physician to see his son. "He's not dead," the physician told him, "just asleep. The potion will wear off after 24 hours, and he'll wake up." When 24 hours had passed, the rabbi's son woke up. His wife and children were gone. "Where are Sarah and the boys?" he asked in alarm. He went to the seashore to search for them. Just then a small vessel came into view, bearing Elijah Zachar Latov, along with another old man. "Who are you looking for?" asked Elijah. "My wife and sons," replied the rabbi's son. "Come aboard. We're sailing to the same town in Spain." The rabbi's son joined them. In the twinkling of an eye, They reached Spain even before the king himself had returned. After they landed, Elijah told the rabbi's son what to do. Go to the viceroy and purchase a lot that is covered with garbage. The rabbi's son went to the viceroy. Would you be so kind to sell me the garbage dump? He asked. The couturiers made fun of him. What? He's daft. He wants to buy the garbage. What's he going to do with it? Of course we'll sell it to him, replied the viceroy. What do we care what he does with garbage? So they sold him the dump. The rabbi's son took the bill of sale, written as a royal edict and sealed with the king's signet. The rabbi's son left the viceroy's palace and returned to the shore. Start working, Elijah told him. He started working, while Elijah, Zachor Latov, prayed. The place became like a garden of the Lord, like Gan Eden. There were songbirds and running water. Every species of fruit in the world grew there. A marvelous aroma filled the air, myrrh and aloe, jasmine, and every variety of fragrant plant. There was even a quartet playing music. The rabbi's son hired watchmen to stand at the gate of the park and collect an entrance fee. He told the guards to record the names of everyone who wanted to enter the park. In the morning, the people woke up and took their garbage out to the dump. But instead of trash, they found a park, like Gan Eden, and went home. All summer long, townspeople went to stroll in the park. When the king arrived in the city, he told his daughter, "Go, stroll in the park, which has running water and every lovely thing in the world." She took her 2 sons and went to stroll in the park. When she entered, her husband, the rabbi's son, was standing there. "Don't you recognize me?" he asked. "Of course I recognize you. You're my husband." "Come, let's go home," he said. "Wait a little longer. I'll bring gold, precious stones, and pearls from my father's treasury." She went back to her father's palace, took silver, gold, precious stones, and pearls, placed them in a box, and returned to the park. When she got there, Elijah appeared to the rabbi's son. "Get ready to travel," he told him. "Your wife and sons have come." They boarded the vessel and set sail. The park turned back into a garbage dump, just as it had been before. When the townspeople went to stroll in the park the next day, as they had become accustomed to doing, all they found was trash. When the king saw the garbage, he lost all hope for his daughter. Evil spirits, they have made off with my daughter." He went home totally dejected. The rabbi's son sailed home with Elisha and the old man. When they reached the coastal city, Elijah told him, "There are 3 of us. Let's split everything 3 ways. Take your wife, I'll take the boys, and he'll take the money." The rabbi's son declined. "Gentlemen, please give me my wife and my sons. I'll pay for them, and the 2 of you can split the treasure here." "No," they insisted. "There are 3 of us. Each has to take a share." Gentlemen, I beg your pardon, replied the rabbi's son. I didn't come for money. I came for my wife and sons. Finally, seeing how distressed he was, anxious and concerned for his wife and sons, they relented. Take them all, your wife, your sons, and the treasure too. I am Elijah, and this man with me is the rabbi whom you buried in the town. May the Lord assist you henceforth. May you rejoice with your wife and children and continue diligently to perform acts of charity and good works, as you always have. Then they disappeared. The rabbi's son lived in wealth, happiness, and tranquility for the rest of his life, devoting himself to good works and giving charity. From this story, we learn the importance of doing good works for one's fellow man. As it is said, doing good works for others is most excellent. We learn from this that the patriarch Abraham, who performed many good works for others, whose tent was open on all four sides and did good works even for Gentiles. The young man lived in peace and happiness with his wife and sons, and the whole life was tranquil. May the merit of good works protect us, and may Mashiach come speedily and in our days. Amen, Selah. Finished and complete. Praise to the Lord, Creator of the universe. All right, what a wonderful story, huh? That was a lovely story. Okay. So we are done with all the serious stories. Now it's time to get to some really funny ones. So this one, well, let's start out here. So this one is called The Story. We're going to do one funny story, and then we're going to stop for the night. And then we'll pick up on the next week. Okay, so this is the story of the baklava. Once a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim. Wait, this sounds like one of those jokes that starts out with a bar, doesn't it? Yeah, I know it does kind of start out that way, but it changes quick. I don't know. It just a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim walked into a bar and walked up to the bartender and said, "Hey, did you hear the one about us?" Okay, well, never mind. Anyway, so once a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim sailed from Izmir to try their luck in Istanbul. Bedtime approached. Because it was cold night, each of them wanted to sleep in the middle, where it would be the warmest. Proclaimed the Jew, "It is written in the Torah that I should sleep in the middle." The Christian and the Muslim were astonished. "Listen," continued the Jew, "you, Suleiman, celebrate your Sabbath on Friday, and you, George, have your day of rest on Sunday. But I rest on Saturday. Just as my day of rest falls between yours, my place to sleep of rest is also between yours." The two agreed, and the Jew got the coziest place to sleep. When they reached Istanbul, they found a gold coin in the street. What should they do with that? The Jew stayed out of the debate. After a long and stormy dispute, the Christian and the Muslim agreed to buy baklava with the money. Whoever had the best dream would get the entire pastry. They proceeded to their inn. During the night, the Jew woke up, feeling hungry. He tasted a bit of the pastry and tried to awaken his companions, but they were sleeping soundly and did not respond to his voice. The Jew fell back asleep for a while, only to awake again and take another bite of pastry. Again, he tried to arouse his companions, and again no success. In this fashion, the Jew kept nibbling away at the pastry throughout the night until it was all gone. In the morning, the three of them went to the coffee house in the marketplace. The place was packed with Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Suleiman told them that he and his two friends had found a gold coin in the street and bought baklava with the money. Now, they wanted those present to judge which of them had the best dream. The Christian began his recitation. I dreamed that Jesus came to me, bore me on his shoulders, carried me to paradise, and showed me saints sitting there and talking quietly among themselves. Recounted Suleiman, I dreamed that Muhammad came to me and bore me on his shoulders and showed me paradise. Could any dream be more beautiful than that? Whispered the audience in amazement. That is a great and sublime dream. Then it was the Jew's turn. My dream is not on the level of yours, for I didn't get to paradise. Instead, our teacher Moshe came to me and said, Suleiman is a Muslim in Mecca, and George is with Jesus in Nazareth. Who knows when they'll return, or whether they'll return at all? And he advised me to eat the baklava myself. Did you eat it? Asked the two companions in a single voice. What do you think? Thundered the Jew. Would I ignore the advice of our teacher Moshe? Okay, so there you have it. Okay, so this is going to conclude our stories for tonight. Don't forget that tomorrow night is the Rabbis Discuss with Rabbi Ansel and Rabbi Ariel. And this is going to be the continuation of the study of the Bahir. And then on Wednesday night, all times are at 8 o'clock. So Wednesday night will be the Torah Parsha of the week and the Mishnah that goes with it. And then Friday night at 8 p.m. is Kabbalat and Ma'ariv Shabbat service. And then on Shabbat morning at 10 a.m. is Shachrit and Musaf. And then right back here on Monday for more funny stories. And we hope to see you then. Please come back often. And we will simply say, Laila Tov.